Now that we created all the REST APIs for the user model, we still have more changes to make. For example, we need to make a validation for the creation of the users. Let's open Postman, and if I decide to not to set the first name, I will get an error. Column first name cannot be null. So let's create a validation that will make us insert the first name. To do that, we need to create a custom request validation. PHP artisan make request, and I will call it user create request. Let's go to the user create request. It's located in app http requests. So this is user create request. The first thing that we have to change is this false here. We have to change it to true. This method is used for unauthorized user trying to access the API request. So here we set the rules for our request. As we said, first name should be required. The same with the last name. Email the same, but we also want it to be an email. For example, if we insert another string, it will fail. There is also another thing that I want to change. I'm not inserting the password here, and I will make a change in the code also. We won't be having a password in the request, because all the users that will be created will have a default password of 1234. Why is that? Because these users will be created in a table, so an admin user will create these users, and he doesn't have to set up their passwords. Once the user is created, he can change the password by himself, not the other user that created this user. Now let's change this request to user create request. Everything should work the same. Let's open Postman and send the request. So we are getting an error, but it looks like a weird error. The reason is because we have to add the accept header here, and we want to be a application/JSON. If we do this, we will get the error. The first name field is required. So yes, that's the way how to validate the user input. So we have to remove also the password here. And also if we remove the add here, the email must be a valid email address. So that is how we validate the inputs. Now let's create another request for the update method. And let's create it. PHP artisan make request user update request. Let's change this request to user update request, and let's go inside the request. Change this to true, and the rules, there will be only one rule, which is the email should be an email. So basically we don't want all the fields to be required because it's an update. If we want to update only the first name, you don't have to send all the other parameters. Also, there is another thing. this way of doing it is wrong in this case, because let me show you what I mean by that. When I try to update a user, for example, let's create first a user, and yeah, I created this user, and now I try to update it, which everything works fine. But if I don't set the first name, it throws an error because first name cannot be null. The thing is, I don't want to change the first name, so I may not want to have it in my request, and it doesn't have to throw an error. So the way to do it is by doing it like this: request only first name, last name, email. So this will get the first name, last name and email the same way that we used before, but there is only one thing that changes. If we don't set the first name, it will not set it to null. Let's try it on the Postman. So yeah, this user has changed now. So if I change the last name again, the user will change again, but the first name didn't change at all. There is also one change that we have to make. I will copy this line here, paste it here, and remove all these lines here. Basically, we have to merge these arrays, and we can do it with a plus sign. Let's try it again. So let's try it. And it worked. So this user is created.